Hi there, and welcome back to another quick tutorial today using some of Crafty Secrets fun supplies and images. So let's get started. The first thing I do is decide what image I want to use. Then I try and match my cardstock to the colors in that image. In this picture, the cardstock you see is from Crafty Secrets' new CD. It's just beautiful. All I had to do was put my paper in my printer and then pick the design I wanted to use. You could even change the colors if you want to, which I think is pretty cool. For me, here's where all the fun begins. Now that I have my image and what cardstock I want to use, it's time to find the inks to match. As you can see, both of these inks match pretty good, but for what I want to do, I stamped using the darker ink, and I'm going to shade my project with the lighter ink because they both look pretty good. Now that I've stamped my image, I'm going to shade using the lighter ink. I apply the ink to my Q-tip, and as you can see in this picture, I'm taking most of it off for even a softer shade. Here you can see how light the color is on the image. After I've shaded the image with my inks, I use my Prismacolor pencils to help match the image even more. I use my Prismacolor pencils a lot for this. In this picture you see a small square I colored using the pencil on the left because it's a coloring pencil. But the pencil on the right is a Prismacolor pencil, but it's colorless. Prismacolor pencils has a colorless blender just like your Copic markers do. So the whole square was colored in, but on the right side was blended out. So if you had two colors next to each other, you could use the colorless blender to blend the two together. The blender is also very good for softening the pencil lines. I hope that makes sense. I don't like to stamp all of my images with black ink. The drawback to that is when I start building color over that lightly stamped images, like the shading we did with the ink, and then we came back in with the pencils, sometimes that stamped image gets lost in that color buildup over it. So I use a fine pen to bring back some of that detail, but not too much. And if you'll notice here, I'm holding the pen almost at the opposite end, so I'm not applying a lot of pressure on the tip. I call this skipping because holding the pen this way, it won't make solid lines. I just want like a light pen sketch, so to speak. Okay, here's the cardstock I want to use for my card, but as you can see, it's just a little bit too light, but I can fix that. And I can add a tad more color to that sweet little image to make everything match. But before I do anything else, I need to cut out my stamped image and distress the edges. For today's project, I used the small one on the left, but I could have used the distress it all. Either one will work. Okay, here you can see I added some shading to the image with the little angels on it and to the card front. Now everything matches and I can assemble my card. I want to thank you for joining me today. I love doing these little tutorials. And for more information, be sure and visit my blog at Linda's Works of Heart. I will have a complete supply list with links there for you. Thanks.